and welcome to the Adventitious Adventures podcast. A little bit of housekeeping before we jump in. As I've said before, the story I'm telling is based on a real-life D&D campaign. So if you're liking it so far, make sure to like and follow the channel for updates when episodes are out, and also feel free to share with your friends. You can also find these episodes on YouTube, and our original written episodes can be found on wordpress.com under the same name. Also, I just want to apologize for any audio in this. They're doing some work outside my house, and not sure if you can hear it, so hopefully it goes well. Last episode, we followed Malvis and Nara and their new companions on their way out of the city of North Star. It didn't exactly go to plan, but they managed to retreat and gain some information along with a new companion. This episode, we are going to catch up with Mitrem as he retreats inside the magical sphere on his way to West Bosch. We pick up the next story with Mitrem, Stephanie, and Rin traveling inside the orb that was given to them, headed for the town of West Bosch. The orb is traveling faster than the speed of light, but seems like a normal passage of time to the trio inside. While they are traveling, Mitrem reveals to Stephanie that Rin is his sister, which seems to ease the tension between the two young women. After that, he also recounts what has happened to him and the North up until this point. Both of the girls seem very interested in his tale and hang on to his words. Rin seems worried about what this all means for the North, and Mitrem seems to be sympathetic to his sister, but ultimately tells her that they can worry about that once the immediate threat in the Barrens is taken care of. At his words, Stephanie seems determined to help with the cause, while Rin seems emotional and questions why his friends walked away. Mitrem sidetracks her question and instead tells her that he is planning on enlisting the help of the local lord once they reach West Bosch. Suddenly, as they are traveling, they are distracted by what seems to be a battle amongst the northern troops. Looking closer, the trio realizes that all of the soldiers are northern, but they seem to be of three different factions. Some of the men have the spiral symbol, some look like normal soldiers, and the others are wearing a strange symbol that they haven't seen before, a sword and a stone with a bird. The orb keeps traveling, however, and after seeing Stephanie's surprise at what they saw, Mitrem questions what her involvement is in this whole scenario. She admits that she does not know anything about the new symbol they saw, that she came from a small village called Enstone, where her family worked in the fields. The lord of the town had a disdain for elves, and they were unfairly treated. The persecution went so far that when the king's counselor Barlow came to survey the town, they begged him for help. But he did nothing. Eventually sick of the treatment, Stephanie joined a group that was urging for change, but peaceful. Rin seems to be overly invested in the other girl's story, and questions what she is saying, almost as if she has a hint of jealousy, then proceeds to tell the group how she ended up being involved in the king's court and singing for him. As she finishes her tale, the orb stops, and they land just outside of West Bosch. Exiting, they see smoke in the distance, and the town is eerily quiet. Making their way cautiously through the town, the trio comes upon a group of citizens who seem on edge and scared. Getting closer, they find the people are talking about the hardships that are plaguing them due to strange creatures coming from the Barrens. It seems the citizens are organizing in order to flee the town, and after some emotional discussion, Rin decides to leave with them. After bidding his sister goodbye, Mitrem and Stephanie travel further into the town. Eventually they come across another group of people. This time, it seems they are a group of soldiers and other citizens willing to risk their safety by going into the Barrens to fight back. The people still seem worried, however. After a moment, the leader who is speaking breaks off and comes to talk to Mitrem. The man tells Mitrem and Stephanie that the people of the town are angry that their appeals to the king have been greeted with silence. The Lord wants to take their safety into his own hands and into the Barrens against the threat, because of the fact that it seems they are being left on their own. Returning, they also see a group of soldiers being addressed by what looks to be their leader. It turns out this man is named Alvin, and is indeed the leader of the forces who have gone and will continue to go into the Barrens. He brings another man up to the front who tells about the group's experience with a creature, which he describes as cunning and beautiful. As Mitrem is watching, the man's face changes, and he makes a point of mentioning it to everyone gathered. Upset about being called out, the soldier's whole body begins to change. After a few seconds, a grotesque-looking hag is standing where the soldier was. A fight ensues, and after a while the small group is able to defeat the vile creature, and it turns into a scrawny, elderly lady. Mitrem was injured fairly badly, but Stephanie gives him a healing potion, and he seems to jump back. After some discussion, Mitrem and Stephanie decide to continue with their plan and accompany the now small group of people and horses into the Barrens. However, before any of them can make any progress, another monster appears, taking out one of the horses and a soldier. This creature has a long tongue and an openish mouth, which Mitrem realizes was a weak spot. And together, him and Stephanie defeat it. But more of them appear. Just when it seems as if there's no way to defeat every creature they are faced with, a little girl gets away from her mother and the group of citizens that were huddled together down the road. As the child comes closer, her eyes start to take on a bluish glow, and she quickly uses a force of energy to take out the creature that was surrounding the small group of fighters. The child then speaks and tells them that her name is Persephone, and she is a seer of this realm. She asks what is happening, and Mitrem tells her about the portals, the creatures, and that it is all due to Thurisdom. Persephone listens to his tale and then shoots another energy blast at Mitrem, this time healing him before speaking once more. She explains that she has seen his history and that of his allies. She has seen their paths returning back to each other, and that they must come together once more in order to bring peace. He also must befriend a new ally named Chapet. Persephone also gives him a warning. He must be wary of Malvis, for there is another pulling his strings that may create more havoc than what is happening currently. She says Malvis himself is not evil. In fact, his heart is good, but what he serves is something disturbing and cruel. Persephone then breaks away to address Stephanie. After reading her for a moment, she tries to get her to admit her feelings, particularly for Mitrem, but instead she just gets awkward. A second or two later, Persephone turns back to Mitrem, telling him that the hand of fate is in play, and that she intervened in the fight so that his death did not interfere with what needs to be done. She tells him that he needs to go to the city of Bosch and wait for the rest of his allies, again making a mention of finding Chop. Finally, she mentions that he must give a message to one of his allies in Nara, that she cannot finish her quest in these lands. After this last piece of advice, the child's voice stops, her eyes stop glowing blue, and she falls to the ground, quickly to be scooped up once more by her mother. Mitrem and Stephanie agree that they must head to the town of Bosch. However, it is late in the day, so they decide to leave in the morning. They find an inn and rent rooms for the night, but just as Mitrem is falling asleep, he feels someone, or something, come into the room and crawl into bed with him.
Thank you.